I've calmed down a little bit by now, but sure was an irritating experience today. Decided to take the kids. I got this email. I'll show you the email real quick. So I get this email here from EMP, which is the Experience Music Project in Seattle. And, clearly says at the top there, you're invited to EMP's, whatever it says, 15th birthday bash. And, blah, blah, blah. It shows about all these different events. And as you can see where the arrow point says free museum admission for Seattle residents. And then it's got a little star there. And under the star there, it says complimentary admission will be granted to visitors who present valid ID showing proof of residence in Seattle. Of course, I've lived here in Seattle area since, anyway, for over 3 decades. I just figured whip out my license, driver's license, and show them that I live here, and good enough. I've always said that I live in Seattle because even though uh, the city itself is called Kirkland, which is about 15 minutes away from Seattle, but you got a bunch of these little cities. It's kind of the east side of Seattle. But everybody always says when they talk about where you live, it's Seattle. It's not, address is not Seattle proper, but who would have thought that they would actually be looking for address Seattle proper? And if you live 15 minutes away from Seattle, that's not considered Seattle according to them anymore. So I get the kids over there, and you know, they say as long as you're in Seattle. I said, yeah, we're residents here. Um, Fine, so go get your stamp, and away you go. So we go to get the stamp, and the guy goes, "Do you want to see the Star Wars exhibit?" And me and my son have seen it, but my daughter hasn't. So I figured she'd probably like it. So I figured, yeah, fine, Star Wars, okay. The guy turns around and goes, 81. I said, 81 what? He says, $81. I said, I thought the admission was free today. He said, yeah, for Seattle residents. I said, I am a resident. You need to see my driver's license? The guy goes, sure. I whip out the license, show it to him. And the guy goes, I'm sorry, it's for Seattle residents who actually live in the city of Seattle in terms of address being Seattle. I said, you got to be kidding me. Kirkland is considered to be greater Seattle area. It's still considered to be Seattle. It's just not on the address. Still says so. The guy goes, no, we can't do it. It has to be, it has to say, or address has to say Seattle. I said, so why in the hell did you guys send me this email then inviting me to come in if I'm not considered to be a Seattle resident? Why are you even sending it to me then? The guy just kind of shook his head. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. So we get back, and this lady that initially helped us out in front, I said, this is ridiculous. I've lived in Seattle all my life practically here. And how is that Kirkland not being Seattle? And she goes, I'm sorry. That's all. That's all they could say today is I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So because of this, because of them being sorry, as they say, they're not sorry enough as far as I'm concerned. So I decided not to spend $81 and avoid the MP basically for the time being until I calm down sufficiently. As far as I'm concerned, they totally suck for doing this to people that live around the Seattle area, and they should either not do free admissions or they should do free admissions to everybody who lives in the Seattle area. I realize that you can kind of start looking at whether a city near Seattle is actually considered Seattle, and if it's like how many miles away you go and things like that. But for the most part, I would think if they wanted to do it, they should do it for what's called the greater Seattle area, which is just these few little cities around the city of Seattle itself. And anyway, as far as I'm concerned, the EMP sucks for doing it this way. So that's my rant for the day. And with that, next time you go to EMP, not only check the fine print, but actually make sure it's extremely literal, or they may do the same thing they did to me.